I have a question on a completely different topic, and it's really about the healing aspects of your work. And it's, because it's a retreat, I went through a couple of really intense healings again, in particular that thing with my parents. And I know in the past you've said, how to be with the healings. Don't take it into your mind. Don't think about it. And I usually don't do that, or I don't do that, try not to do that. But I noticed this time, and I've noticed this before, that there's so much that happens, at least for me, in the chair in those moments. And like, it's hitting at so many different levels that afterwards I sort of need some time to try and assimilate, like, wow, what was that experience? What was all happening in that experience,
You don't need to know.
Okay.
What happens is, if you're in right relationship with the healing itself, which means you don't think too much about it, because what's happening in that healing experience is transcendent of the mind's capacity to understand. It's really literally beyond reason. So the way to be with it is, if you notice you're thinking about it, that's okay, you can't stop that, but don't give it too much juice, don't go too far into it. Just trust in the process of integration. The right word is integration. Just by being present, by being honoring, by maybe every now and then just saying, thank you God, thank you existence, thank you Leonard, whatever you like, thank you, just say thank you. But have a prayerful relationship to that. Then it settles, it integrates. It's like a flower blooming within you that slowly, slowly transforms things as the healing integrates within you. The more you think about it, in a way you lessen the power of the healing. Now, I'm not suggesting you should stop thinking about it, because then that would be fighting, that would be resistance. That's not helpful. You just notice you're thinking about it and gently relax. You come back to being present with what is here, and then say thank you. Then you see what happens. But at the end of the day, the only point in the healing, the only value in the healing, is to facilitate releasing the past from you and you from the past. Wherever you've been caught in the past, whether it's in childhood or whether it goes all the way back to another lifetime, it doesn't matter. The whole point of healing, it's really, in a sense, an intervention in your past to somehow complete whatever was incomplete within the past. For example, with your parents, you had an opportunity to speak to them and complete with them, right? That was a part of the healing process. Now, that's very powerful, to have an opportunity to enter into genuine dialogue with your parents who have passed on, and really complete whatever needed to be complete. You have to trust the healing power of that.
I'm just amazed that things can still come up, and it just reminds me of what you said earlier tonight. I guess that Jesus said that all is hidden will be revealed,
Right, and you have to understand,
it's a blessing.
It's a blessing, and think of it like a spiral. And there are levels and levels, even of the same event. Like, you have two events in your past that are very profound and that are involved in your healing, and that have kept you in the past, particularly around the fear of death, a loss and abandonment, right? With both situations. They're very, very strong, powerful events. So you might have, last year, for example, got a good part of that in relation to your parents. You healed certain aspects of it. And then a year later, you're surprised that there's still a bubbling up. But what we did this retreat, what happened this retreat, was different than what happened last retreat. It was a different feel, a different quality. It really had the feeling of completion. And the same when we went back into the other lifetime. There was, in a sense, a deeper level of completion occurring. And it's occurring at a deeper level within your consciousness. Now, how that transforms your life in this lifetime and allows you to relax even more deeply into presence is up to you. It's still up to you to remember presence. It's still up to you not to get too lost in your story. The healings support that and make that easier and more available to you, but it's still up to you to make that fundamental choice for presence rather than being too engaged with your mind, with your past, with your future, with success, with failure, with money, with achievement, with relationship, with attachment. You have to make a choice within you at a very deep level that facilitates and supports your ongoing deepening into presence. So that next time you're walking from your car to your office, and we all know you get very busy when you get into the office, right? But there's no need to be busy walking from the car to the office. That's when you make it a sacred journey. It's a sacred journey from the car to the office. You're honouring God, truth, love, and the present moment. Just in that short journey, then God, love, truth, and the present moment is happy to release you to a busy day of thinking. But then when you walk back to the car from the office, or when you walk over to get a cup of tea, there are times where you must remember presence in a way that is affirming and honouring of presence, so that you're conveying the secret. So you're not just dismissing these beautiful, deep, almost miraculous healings in favour of your story. Now the good news is, I'm very gentle here. I'm not saying the story has to go away. You have your story, you have your past, you have your memories, your dreams, your hopes, your plans, your career. You have your bank balance. All of that's a part of your story. The question is, how absorbed do you allow yourself to be in the story compared to how absorbed do you allow yourself to be in the present moment? That's the balance that's always, in a sense, competing. Which way will you go? Will you tilt towards the present moment, or will you, even after a beautiful retreat where you're present and joyful and you've been through powerful healings, or will you allow yourself to be pulled yet again back into your story, believing in all these things that really don't amount to a whole lot at the end of the day? Whatever your story is presenting to you in this lifetime, you can't take any of it with you. You can't take your daughter with you. You can't take Sherry with you. You can't take your dog with you. If your parents were still alive, you can't take them with you. You can't take your money with you. You can't take success with you. You don't take any of it with you. But what do you take with you when you leave this body? You take the degree of consciousness or unconsciousness with you that you have achieved and arisen to in this lifetime. If you've awakened fully and become fundamentally present, that goes with you. If you've missed, if you've been through some levels of presence and some level of healing, and your consciousness is greater than it was before you started the journey in this lifetime, that goes with you. If you stay involved in conflict or anxiety about death or resistance to death, or you're still holding on and attached, that goes with you. Whatever's unhealed goes with you. Whatever you're holding on to, the attachments, desires, fears, that all goes with you. So it really does come down to these competing worlds in a way. Which world is going to win your attention? Which world is going to win you? One is God's world, and the other is the ego's world. And the ego has tremendous power to seduce you and to keep you imprisoned, in a sense, within its world. It has such power of temptation. It can tempt you with all these huge, huge bodies of knowledge, philosophy, religion, history. It can seduce you with all the possibilities that the future has to offer. So many possibilities, so much hope. Anything could happen. You could become famous. You could become very wealthy. All sorts of possibilities, right? You might ultimately escape the pain and the fear from your past somewhere in your future. The ego has so much to tempt you with to in a sense, win you into its world, seduce you into its world of the past and future, the world of the mind, the world of thought. And then let's have a look at God's world, the world of now. What does God have to offer you? Only what is present with you in the moment. That's it. No philosophies, no religions, no possibilities, no hope, no past, just this moment. Now, if we examine it objectively for a moment, we could say that it's not a fair competition. The ego has a tremendous advantage. So what is required then is the deepest level of intelligence arising within you that will support your choice for the truth of life revealed through the present moment, the world of here now, rather than the world that is presented to you by the ego, by the mind, the story, the past, the future, the world of not here. Which world will ultimately prevail in your life? The world of here now or the world of not here? That's the question facing every living human. Once they're exposed, you see, you have to be exposed to the way. You have to be exposed to these two choices. You have to know that there's a choice. You don't have to continue living forever lost in your mind, lost in your story. There's an alternative. There's another world. There's another home, the world of now. So the first thing is you have to be presented. Everyone on the planet is entitled to be presented with that possibility. There's another world that's available to you beyond the world you know, beyond the world you're familiar with. But that's not enough. I can tell you about it, you have to experience it. That's not enough, because you can experience it doesn't mean you can stay in it. So you have to know the way of awakening that will ultimately deliver you not only into presence, but fundamental presence and mastery of the mind and ego, so that you really can exercise your God-given right to be here now rather than not here. Everyone on this planet is at least entitled to that. Then the responsibility is with you. It's with each one of us. Because at least in the initial stages, it's a choice. Which world do you choose to live in? And then, after a while, you don't need to keep making choices because your home has shifted. Now you know where you live. You live in the world of now. You think when you choose to. You think consciously. When you're done thinking, you just spontaneously come back to the present moment because this is your home. There comes a point where choice is unnecessary. In the initial stages, it is a choice. You notice you're drifting off into the mind, you come back to presence. Okay?